kind of like just rote memory, and I understand that. There are some significant decisions, I think, that we face on a regular basis. And the question on major choices in life is not what's the legal thing to do. I don't think that's the best question. Or what is the profitable thing to do. I don't think that's the best question. I think the best question is, at this season in my life, considering my past experiences, my present circumstances, and my future hopes and dreams, what's the wise thing to do? What's the wise thing to do? And so the four options presented about the people that are in this world, in the book of Proverbs talks about the wise man, talks about the simple person. And we're going to explain what that means. And then there's just the fool. And then there's the fool on steroids, which is the mocker. And so we are either one of those dominantly, or maybe a combination, kind of like the temperaments. And so if I don't opt for wisdom, I'm opting for something else. If I don't make my decisions based on what's the wise thing to do, what do I make my decisions based on? What tastes good, what feels good. And just to give you a real simple illustration, what do you base your food choices on for the most part? What you like. Yeah. Now, is what we like always what we need? No, but we eat what we like, regardless of how it affects us. And people make decisions that way. I don't care what I need to do. This is what I want to do. And so a lot of people sacrifice their future for what they want right now. This would be good right now. And as kids, don't you remember doing that? We would eat ice cream 6 meals a day. Kids would love to do that. But is that really the best thing? And all these kids are saying, well, yeah, that's the best. Sure it is. Yeah, Thomas is back there. Yeah. So what is there beside wisdom? And so, there's plenty beside wisdom out there. And I have made a lot of decisions in my life based on stupidity, selfishness, arrogance, ignorance. I didn't know that would do that. I didn't know that would be the result. And then there are times when I've made decisions, probably like you knew what was going to happen. I know this is going to blow up. I don't care. I am going to drag race this guy. I don't care. And there's a lot out there. And so what we do, we dig our own grave with the decisions that we make. And there are maybe that was not exactly the best illustration to use for Paul and Doug here. Yeah, hey, Paul, okay. So let's look at Proverbs chapter 7. Proverbs 7. And we're not going to get all of these verses, but look beginning in verse number 6. For at the window of my house I looked through my casement. And so he's looking through the window in his house. And apparently he's watching the street and he sees a simple one. Simple. All right? The word simple means open to impressions. So this is the guy that's impressionable. He's a follower. He doesn't have real sharp borders and boundaries yet. So look what he did. He said, I discerned among the youths. And so what do we know about his age? This is a young, impressionable kid. Well, what's he doing? Well, he's void of understanding. He doesn't understand what he's doing. Well, what is he doing? Passing through the street near her. Near her corner. And he went the way to her house. And he's not at her house. He's walking toward her house. So what do you think he's thinking? He knows where he's going. He knows exactly what he's doing. Now, what doesn't he care about? The results of what he's about to do. Exactly right. And so he passes the street near her corner, and he went the way to her house in the twilight, in the evening, in the black and dark night. So now we even know we got a young, impressionable guy in the wrong part of town at night. Behold, there met him a woman with the attire of an harlot. I'm talking about a streetwalker here. Subtle of heart. This woman knows what she needs to do to make money. And she knows that her body is the only asset she has. And so she's loud. She's stubborn. Her feet abide not in her house. Now is she without. Now she's advertising. She's walking the street. She is a human billboard now. And she lies in wait at every corner. They still do that up in Orlando on OBT, Orange Blossom Trail. I was up there years ago when we lived up there, and I stopped at a red light. And I was just looking straight ahead, and all of a sudden, something taps on my window. And I looked over, and it was an old prostitute, you know, and that you could just see them lined up on OBT. So she caught him and kissed him. Oh, I drove through the green light, by the way. All right, just to finish that story. She caught him and kissed him with an impudent face and said unto him, oh, my word. Now, you talk about the height of arrogance. I have peace offerings with me. Let's go to church. Let's go worship. So that's what they're calling it these days. I have paid my vows, and as long as I go through the motions of religion, I can do anything I want to do. So won't you come? And well, anyway, let's take a look at this guy who is simple. Now, here's what we know. He's a youth. He's a kid. He's a teenager. He has no clue about consequences. He's naive. He has no life experience. You remember when you were in high school, had no life experience? And your parents would tell you, I remember my mom telling me stuff like, don't hang around that person. And I remember her using the word rounder. I had no clue what that meant. But she told, there was a guy that we were friends with, and she said, I don't want you hanging out with him. He's a rounder. Well, she knew something about the family that I didn't know. And I found this out later. And she was right. Found out she was right. I didn't see any problem with hanging around, but she did. And so, because I was inexperienced, I had no clue that I was the kind of person that I didn't need to be hanging around. And so, as of yet, they hadn't been hurt. See, these kids, as of yet, they've not been disappointed in life. They've not been hurt by life. They think everybody is sweet and kind and has their best in mind. And is that true? No. There are people out there that do not have your best at heart, even now that we're adults. There are folks that might want to get close to you for the purpose of getting something from you. And so, but this is a kid absolutely clueless about life. He's not bad. He's not even dumb. He just has no life experience yet. He's like a tabula rasa, like a blank piece of paper, and the world is about to ride all over him. And so this is the kid that really, really needs some life experience. He's wide open to suggestion, and there he is. All right. We were watching the news last night, and vaping, the federal government now is really, really, really on board with discouraging anybody from vaping because, well, I think death was one of the consequences. That's a pretty serious deal. And, you know, you see people walking around vaping all the time, and they get all these flavors, coconut and all this kind of stuff, and they just have no clue. They are clueless. Well, at least it won't give you cancer. Well, yeah, actually it will. Because it's a nicotine-based product. And so how you advertise stuff, you know, you can slip it right by the moral reasoning of people. And so here's this kid, good-looking woman, comes to him and, you know, comes on to him. He doesn't know that he could get up with a STD. He doesn't know that this could end his life. He has no clue about that as of yet. So he's just simple. And so here's their life's motto. He ain't scared. They don't know enough to be scared. Have you seen that bumper sticker on trucks? Normally it's trucks. Ain't scared, and I'm thinking, there's an idiot. You know? There are actually things that you need to listen to. Yeah, you need to be scared. There are things out there that will hurt you. There are things out there that are not good for you. And I need to stay away from those things. And one of those things is what's mentioned here in the book of Proverbs, chapter 7, with this young man. And so this is a simple guy. And you young people, I'm glad that your family has you in church, because you have friends that are like this. Now, I don't know how simple you are at this point in your life. Just this one time, just let me cheat off your paper just this one time. You know, sneak out of the house. But did anybody ever do that here? Wait till your mom and dad. You did. Wait till your mom and dad was, all the house was dark, and then you slip out the window. Yeah, I never did that. Did other stuff, but I never did that. But you don't know. You just have no life experience about stuff. And so here's simple thinking. Nothing is going to happen, Mom. But you're going to a party, or you've been invited to a party where they drink and drugs. I know, but I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to be influenced by any of that stuff. And so this is a simple thing. I can handle it. I can hang around those people, and I won't get involved in that. You're just overreacting. We know what parents do. Anna was telling a story this morning, and, somebody might think, well, she's just overreacting. Well, she's being a parent that has a very invested interest in her daughter. And so the simple aren't scared of debt. They're not scared of that at all. The simple aren't scared of moral boundaries. They don't have any yet. They don't know that they should. It's like the What Fence Hunt Club. Have you seen that bumper sticker? You seen that bumper sticker? I'm scared of a guy. I'm a little worried about people that don't have any compunction about breaking laws and stepping over boundaries and trespassing. I'm not going to do that. I was hunting with some guys one time, and there was a fence. Normally, fences are property boundaries. And they were like, oh, let's go over, and so they crawled over through the fence, and I didn't go. I could not. I'm not holier than thou. I'm just like, man, this is not right. We can't do this. And I've been hunting with Christian men before, years ago, and saw deer in the middle of a dirt road, and it was on another guy's property. And when you get back to camp, of course, you always we sit around the fire and lie about what you saw, And I said, well, I saw some deer, and and I said, could you shot one? I said, yeah, I could have probably got two. And they chided me for not shooting those. I said it wasn't on our property. Well, we could drag him through the fence, and I'm just telling you, that's fearful to me. You call me a chicken, you call whatever you want, but I can see problems down the road. And so this is, you young people, when you make a decision, understand, what's this going to do tomorrow? What's this going to do next year? What's this going to do in 20 years in my life? And so they're not scared of carnal people. Are there people in this county that you're afraid of? You just don't want to be around them? It's not that you're scared of them. I just don't want to start thinking like that. It's like if you have the mumps, I ain't going to come see you. I've never had the mumps. You're not going to catch my good health. I'm probably going to catch your mumps. And so there are people in this county that have no boundaries at all about doing wrong things. I don't want to start thinking, well, that's okay. If you can get away with it, then that's okay, because it's not. All right? The simple see no hurt on the horizon. Now this old boy right here, this is a woman that has been sleeping with everybody in town for money. You see a potential medical problem here? Do you see a potential moral problem? I mean, he doesn't see this. What he sees is, wow, that's a good-looking girl. Yes, sir. Yep. Yep. Yeah, he didn't move into, you're right, he didn't move into the city, but he headed that way. And so, I mean, these people don't even see the horizon. I mean, the simple person who is impressionable, you can tell them anything and they will believe you. And this is the kind of person that is going to get hurt at some point. And so a wise person, according to the Bible, sees potential evil and he runs the other way. You don't have to experience. I've often heard, well, experience is the best teacher. That's dumb. Experience is not the best teacher. You can walk away from experience with a broken arm when all you had to do was look at the potential problem. Yes, sir. A pound, exactly. And so there are things, and you can't tell these kids are in here tonight. Just grow up. You ever heard an adult tell a kid, "I would just grow up"? Well, wouldn't it be nice if you could just order that? That's not how we grew up. We grew up. How did we grow up? One day at a time, learning by experience. Do that. Don't do this. However, there are times you'll never live long enough to learn everything by experience. You'll never live long enough. So I got to listen to somebody. And so if I listen to someone's counsel, they might save me years of heartache and years of hurt if I just learn to listen. But isn't that a hard thing? You think you always know the best, and everything that you do is always the right way to do things. And so if there's an explosion going to happen, I think the best thing to do is find a stone wall to get behind and not walk into this thing, don't walk into the open minefield. Now, simple thinking. Never trade what you want most for what you want now. If you want, I've told young people this for I don't know how long, those that are, within 3 or 4, 5, 6 years of being married, become the person you're looking for is looking for. If you want a godly spouse, what do you need to become? A godly person, because guess what they're looking for? Same thing. And so you become the person you're looking for is looking for, and eventually the Lord will cross your paths, and so you don't trade for what you want right now for what you're going to need most in your life. 7:22 and 23. Look at 22 and 23. He went ahead. He goeth after her straightway as an ox goeth to the slaughter. Now, do cattle know they're about to get shot between the eyes? No. All they know is, wow, look at all that feed. Roger, look at here. And they walk and they just start eating, and next thing you know, boom. Or, here's another illustration, as a fool to the correction of the stocks. Now, the cattle are unaware. The fool is aware. Okay? Now, till a dart strike through his liver. That's an STD. So this stuff is as old as mankind. So now he's picked up this disease. As a bird hasteth to the snare and knoweth not that it is for his life. Birds run into the trap. Maybe there's something in there that he wants to eat. He doesn't know that somebody's trying to trap him. Has no clue until it's too late. And then when it's too late, it's too late. And so, you want to grab him by the arm or the throat and just say, stop, you little idiot, stop. Don't do that. And of course, the person with no life experience is going to be like, it'll be okay. Did y'all ever tell your parents that when they tried to give you any kind, maybe you didn't say it verbally, but inside you're thinking, you're 40 years old, really? You are so far, you're not even thinking, you're so old. I remember those days, not thinking my mom and dad knew anything at all. Maybe you did the same thing. But, I need to stop because there are some things that ought not be done. And I have got to, and this is why I was asking the question about has the Bible given you boundaries? And I think one of the responsibilities of a church is to explain from a scriptural point of view, what are God's boundaries? And I've learned this through the course of my life, that boundaries are never to restrict your freedom. They're never to hurt you. They're never to keep you from something wonderful. They're to keep awful things away from you. It's like going to the zoo. I'm glad there are fences in the zoo, and the borders, and I'm glad of that. It's not, well, you mean I can't get in the lion's den? I'd like to get in there. They're just trying to keep me from having fun. Well, all right. Climb the fence, buddy, and enjoy. You know, they're trying to keep something bad from happening to us. All right, now if a zoo has that much foresight, what do you think God? Why did God say sex is restricted between a man and a woman? Why do you think he said that? Because that's the best way to live life. That's the best way. What about stealing and killing? Why can't we do these things? God just doesn't want me to enjoy life. No, he is trying to keep you from doing the things that would destroy our enjoyment of life. And so that includes fencing certain activities and certain behaviors out of my life. Now, what is the cure for the simple? This guy has no clue. He's naive. He has no life experience. Well, his cure is time. Give him some time. Isn't that what helped us? Didn't time, the years of experience, and until then, I needed some pretty stiff rails. And when you bowl, I think they're called bumpers. Is that what they call it? The bumpers, you pull those things up on the side. And you can't throw a gutter ball with bumpers. I mean, it might bounce 40 times by the time it gets down there. But your parents are your bumpers. And for you young people, you might not agree with your parents. You might think that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Please trust them, all right? They're bumpers that God's put in our lives. And so just give them some time. And maturity is not when you start shaving. Maturity is not when you get your driver's license or graduate from high school. Maturity is making sound decisions without supervision. When you can do the right thing without being told to do the right thing, you're mature. I used to sub at the junior high here, and oh my word. I think 8th grade is apparently just one of the, yeah, oh my word. And there were times I'd get called to the office, and I'd tell, all right, I'm going to be gone for about 5 minutes, so I'd just keep doing your work. And I'd leave the room, and I'd shut the door, and I never just would walk away. I'd stop and look in the window. And there were students who just kept on doing their work. There were others that were swinging off the light fixtures, running around, slapping, you know. They couldn't do the right thing unless I was in there. So that's immaturity. And so the kid that says, well, when will my mom and dad give me a break and quit making all my... I'll tell you when you start making decisions that are right without, them telling you to do it. And so, I'm looking at some mature people here. Y'all can do the right thing without being told to do the right thing now. And so you're mature in that area. And so time cured you. Time cured us. I'd say for the most part. We probably still make some goofy decisions. All right, now, let's step it up. What about the fool? Well, look in 26, chapter 26. Chapter 26 and verse 11. As a dog returneth to his vomit, that's graphic, so a fool returneth to his folly or his stupidity. Now, what's the difference between a simple man and a fool? Well, a fool has no clue. I mean, the simple has no clue that this is going to blow up on him. Now, a fool knows what he's doing. He just doesn't care. This is a person that has some experience, and he continually steps over the lines of what's right, and you fill in the blank there. He just doesn't give a blank what would be the wise thing to do. He doesn't care. I know I ought not do this. I'm going to do it anyway. It makes me look cool. It makes me look strong. It makes me look whatever he thinks it makes him look. I know it's wrong. I'm doing it anyway. And so this is what the Bible calls a fool. I'm not hurting anybody. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. You might not be hurting anybody like directly, but if you get hurt, if I do something stupid and I get hurt, am I hurting somebody else? Hurt my wife, my kids, my grandkids, possibly my church. If I do something and get killed, I do something really stupid and get killed. Well, it just hurt me. No, I didn't. I hurt a whole lot of people. And so all of people do the same thing. It's my life. It's my decision. It's my body. And you throw in this abortion deal. Well, it's my body. No, it's not. Actually, it's not. It is a completely separate form of life in this woman's. And I don't even want to get into this, but it just blows my mind that women and men rejoice over the fact that they have the legal freedom to kill a child. I don't understand that. To me, that's mind-boggling. But Proverbs chapter 30, verse number 20. Let's look at that real quickly. Or 13, I mean. Yeah, Proverbs 13. Verse 20. He that walketh with wise men shall be wise. We become like those with whom we associate. But a companion of fools shall be destroyed. So who you hang out with, you soon begin to admire them. And normally, we begin to emulate those we admire. We want to live like them and talk like them and be like them in a number of areas. And so we're willing to we know it's dangerous, we know we ought not do it, but we're going to do it anyway. This is the fool. He is the dog that returns to his vomit. Now, intentions don't fix broken stuff. For instance, when it goes bad, I didn't mean to hurt anybody. That might not have been your intention. But that's fine that was your intention, but we're still going to have to take him to the hospital. So I'm still going to have to pay his medical bills. We're still going to have to go to court. I'm still going to have to finance the wrong that you did. I'm still going to have to, pay for the damage. And so we're still going to have to pay for their car or hire a lawyer or whatever the deal is. But intentions. How many times have you heard people say, or maybe even you've made this statement yourself, I didn't mean for it to go that far. I didn't mean for that. Probably that's true. That very well could be true. But does that matter now? Doesn't matter now. You still have a mess to clean up, and it's possibly going to cost tens of thousands of dollars. And so when you see a barrier to a behavior, honor that. Don't run past the police line. That tape, don't do that. That's not a good thing to do. So, foolishness will blind you. Knowing it's wrong, but doing it anyway. What will it blind you to? Well, number one, it will blind you to your own selfishness. It'll blind you to your own immaturity. It'll blind you to your own weakness, carnality, ignorance, arrogance. Fools don't know they're fools. They think they're cool. They think they're brave. They think a lot of things about themselves that are just simply not true. But foolishness will blind you to all of these things in your life, all right? Now, sadly enough, information won't help them. I remember going to the gym one day when I was in high school, and they were going to show us a film. It was the big old, y'all remember the big old movie projector, and it was about smoking. And oh my word, we sat there. There were 200 or 300 of us in the gym, and they had people that had smoked for a long time, and they had that. It had eaten up their larynx or whatever, and they had that thing that would make them talk like this. And then when they, and everybody, they showed us pictures of lungs of people that had died of cancer, and they had dissected these things and laid it. It was gruesome, man. It was awful. People had all kind of diseases, and they had their jawbone cut out from chewing tobacco and all this. You know what all of my friends, I don't know what everybody in the gym thought, but you know what all of my friends said, including me, and I didn't smoke at that time. You know what we were saying? That ain't going to happen to me. Well, that guy was stupid. Yeah, he was. Exactly right. That wasn't a wise thing to do. And so all of the information in the world. Question, do you think these commercials discouraging vaping are going to stop people from vaping? No. No. Drink responsibly. Do you think people are going to, obey those kinds of things? So remember, well, you remember those. I just told you about that one. And and they even show these today still. People on respirators, and it'll tell them, this person died in July of 2018. Yep. You do it more? Okay. I thought about that angle of it. Um, let's see. Are there products that say, warning, this product causes cancer? It's your fault, yeah. Yep. Yep. Yeah, I agree with you. And again, it's kind of like people that want to sue Ruger for some criminal taking a Ruger gun, and you know what I'm saying? At some point we've got to take responsibility for ourselves. And again, I make decisions. I drink a Diet Dr. Pepper before church. I did, and I know it's got aspartame in it. I ought not do that. Well, I don't do it very often, but that was not a wise choice.
Advertisements on the television about different drugs, and they go through and tell you all the side effects that you can have, which are much worse.
Death being one of them. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And people mislead us.
Yeah. Well, they do, and I've seen this warning. This product causes birth defects in your baby, but people continue to do it. It's just like, so what? I'm gonna do this anyway. And we'll look at Proverbs 26, verse 11. Proverbs 26:11. As a dog returns to his vomit. Now, that's. Somebody might say, well, it's my vomit. You're right. You're absolutely right. And this is also in your future, too, if I don't quit making these kinds of decisions. Now, what's the cure for the fool? Well, tragedy. It's going to take, man, I just got a diagnosis from the doctor. Wow. This could be life-threatening. Well, often it takes somebody running into the wall. You remember when all of us had kids at home, if your kids were stubborn about a particular issue, what was one of the things that you probably wound up saying to your spouse? Let him keep on. Now, you don't want your kid to get killed or, understand that. But there are some things that they just keep doing over and over and over and over. And one of the cures, let them experience a little tragedy, Good illustration. And don't go bail them out, Tragedy is going to be, at some point in their future, don't drink and drive. Don't do that. Well, I can handle it. Okay. Now, when you wreck your car, don't expect me to finance another one for you. I'm telling you now, this has got to stop. And so the cure for the fool is just tragedy. All right. What about the mocker? What is a mocker? Well, Solomon has given us the good, that's the simple, and the bad, that's the fool, and the ugly is the mocker. And the mocker is a fool on steroids. This is the guy that in his relationship, not only does he does not care about right and wrong, it doesn't matter to them, but what they do, they scoff or mock those who pursue what is right. I have heard stories here in Hardy County of women who, talking with like female office staff or friends or whatever, and they were encouraged to have an affair. And the woman says, no, I'm happily married, I'm a Christian woman, and the Christian girl is just lambasted by her friends. Really? That's kind of old-fashioned, isn't it? I heard recently about an issue that was a biblical issue. That's archaic. That's archaic. Well, I would dare say that our contemporary culture thinks everything the Bible teaches is archaic. We have a new, how many politicians think the Constitution is archaic? We need to just do away with that. No, we don't. We most certainly do not. And so we don't need to dismiss Scripture because it's old. A lot of things, and people will just laugh at you. Anybody in here ever been kind of giggled at because of your biblical stance on things? Abortion, homosexuality, or whatever. When you voice a biblical opinion on things, and I don't think you have to talk Old English, by the way, when you're defending your faith. But that's this guy. He doesn't care about right and wrong, and he's going to try to get you to not care. And that's why right now there's a push. Christianity has become profanity in this country. And Christianity is going to be, and you mark my words on this, ultimately is going to be defined as a hate group. Just like recently, and I don't know what your position on this is, and I don't really care, the NRA has been designated, I think in California, as a domestic terrorist group. The NRA. That's Drew Brees. Yeah, he's a good guy. Yeah. Yeah. Expanded. Yeah. Well, there was a group that was protesting against Chick-fil-A because Chick-fil-A is selling homophobic chickens. Don't hear about that? And they're laying down, and customers are having to step over to get to the homophobic chickens, and so that's your marker. This is these people, and we're surrounded with them these days. So here's the marker bird. Look in chapter 9, Proverbs 9, verses 7 and 8. He that reproveth a scorner giveth to himself shame, and he that rebuketh a wicked man getteth himself a blot. Reprove not a scorner, lest he hate thee. Rebuke a wise man, he'll love thee. So, they are condescending people. They are critical people. They are controlling. They will try to embarrass you off of your biblical standards. That is going on all over the country right now. And don't think that Hardy County is exempt from that. It is not. And I just want to encourage you on your job or with your circle of friends, when moral issues come up in conversation, I don't think you have to stand up and pound your Bible. In fact, I would encourage you don't do that. But can you present biblical evidence and biblical standards without standing up and pounding? Yes, you can. We're supposed to do that, Jamie. Something. That's exactly right. All the time. You've got to be offended, or you lose your leverage. You've got to be offended and aggravated all the time. And so they leverage what intelligence they have to try to control the situation. And the LGBT movement that John mentioned earlier, they don't want tolerance. They want acceptance. Exactly right. It used to be, can you just let us have this little corner of our work? Can you just tolerate us? They're way past that. Now they want acceptance. They want you to agree with them that this is right. And that's where the rub is. Matter of fact, that's what wrong in the country now is not satisfied with tolerance. If you disagree with me, you're a racist. If you disagree with me, you know what I'm saying? If you present any kind of a biblical framework or even a political framework that disagrees with certain people, you are, and you fill in the blank. And racist is the popular word right now because, oh my word, nobody wants to be that. Well, we're not. Truth is not a racial issue. In the white community, 2 and 2 is 4. In the black community, 2 and 2 is 4. Same thing. So truth is a universal handle that fits everything. And so they try to leverage that. And so they're practically impossible to have a relationship with. They really are. Because they're, like Jamie said, they're always offended by something. And they're always blaming you. Individual responsibility here is out the window. It's just, it's your fault. It's somebody's fault. It's the church's fault. It's all these other people. Now, well, if you're married to a scoffer or if you work for a scoffer, God bless you. You're going to need the grace of God, because if you rebuke them or disagree with them, that's what you're going to get. And maybe you've already received some of that in your relationship with people. But, biblically, we live in times that are, declension is the watchword for that. We're declining. We're gradually attempting to rewrite the moral constitution of the Bible, and just like we're trying to rewrite the political constitution of the United States, to exchange what we think is right and what we think is wrong. We're going to reestablish this, and just don't let people, and I'm grateful. I'm looking around here, and I'm seeing strong Christians. I see people here. You're here tonight because you wanted to be here. Nobody made you come. Nobody, well, maybe, but they're, give them some time here. Give them some time. And so I'm grateful, and I appreciate the impact that the truth, not just your church, and this is family, I understand that, but it's more than just an emotional safety net. This is a bulwark of truth, the Bible I'm talking about. And, as our church has got to be faithful to the presentation and the representation of truth, first of all, to ourselves. And when we are faithful to that, you're going to have an impact on people that you know. And I mentioned this morning, I've been in the community for several decades now, and I've heard people talk about members of our church. And it's always good. I'm grateful to hear people that have been positively impacted by you. Grateful for their interaction with you, whether it was business or personal or club or whatever it was. I've had people talk about our kids, having them in class. Oh, yeah, that's a very, obedient, and I enjoy having them in class. And so I'm grateful for that. So thank you all very much for who you are and the influence that you're having in our community. All right, y'all ready to go to the house at 7 o'clock? And all right, I think I'm gonna go ride my bike for a while. I need to work off that diet, doc. Yeah. John, you're gonna probably join me on my next bike on my birthday ride. Yeah. He's gonna do 60 miles on his 60th birthday. Yeah, on his Harley. He's going to do it in about 30 minutes, Now, he showed me a picture of it. He said, I'm going to do 60 miles on my 60th birthday. And I was like, oh, wow, okay. All right. Thank you all for being here. God bless you. Be here Wednesday night. We're going to be in the book of Isaiah, somewhere around chapter 3, 4, and 5 on Wednesday night. But I love you. I appreciate you. And God bless you this week. Lord, thank you so much for who you are and the great things you've done in our lives. Thank you for your word that has safety boundaries for us. This is not to inhibit, but this is to give us freedom to live life the absolute best way. We're grateful for your love for us. Bless us as we go home. In Jesus' name, amen.